We got to look for that 10.5 million illegal aliens that came across that border. We got to look, that's in addition to 15 million already here. So now the roles change. Now Border Patrol is backstopping ICE on the interior. It's working. Record numbers of removals, arrests. Right now we already have a record number, historic number of arrests and removals this fiscal year. And would bring on 10,000 more agents by mid-January. And we're going to blow this historic number out of the water next year. So everything's working good. It's still under the leadership of acting Director Todd Lyons, under the leadership of Secretary Noem. The results speak for themselves. The agents out there doing what President Trump promised he'd do, is make his country safe again.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today, we have to speak on some good news. Today is great news for the mass deportation operations that are going on across the country and that will be going on throughout the duration of time that Trump is in office. Why is it a good day? Because as of this weekend, 260,000 illegal Venezuelan immigrants lost their TPS status. It has expired, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to get into this video clip now to unpack some of what's said and some of the blasphemy that's coming out of this one particular woman's mouth who speaks on the fact that TPS is coming to an end for Venezuelan illegal alien migrants that crossed the border during Biden's migrant crisis. Let's get into this clip next.
All new at 6. In a matter of hours, more than 250,000 Venezuelans will lose protection from being deported. Their temporary protected status, otherwise known as TPS, is set to expire on Friday before midnight. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor spoke to a woman with TPS who says she's worried for her future.
These 260,000 Venezuelans will lose their status, their work permit, and their driver's license. And for the first time while putting together this story, people that I'd reach out to for an interview did not respond. And two of them told me, I can't talk.
My family and myself, we are desperate because this happened so fast.
This Venezuelan woman with TPS, and who we will call Maria, spoke to us under the condition of anonymity.
I feel persecuted.
Stop. I don't need to hear anything that you have to say from this point moving forward. Number one, it didn't happen so fast. This specific group of Venezuelan illegal immigrants, they received this TPS status in 2021. Okay, so it didn't happen fast. It happened in a 4-year period. The T in TPS is temporary. That's what it stands for. Temporary, not forever. It is temporary. So that means it's time to go. And as it pertains to her feeling persecuted, this is the stuff that drives me crazy. And this is what I find so blasphemous and disrespectful to the victims of those who have lost their lives at the hands of illegal immigrants that came into this country through the Biden crisis, the DNC migrant crisis, to which so many people were actually persecuted, killed, assaulted, violated. You all know what I mean when I say violated. RAPE. We have people in this country, American citizens, who have actually been persecuted at the hands of those who crossed the border under Biden's fake migrant crisis. They were the ones persecuted. But you're sitting here claiming persecution when the reality is your time here has simply expired. Nothing illegal has happened. No one's doing anything wrong to you. It's just time to go. Now let's take a moment to look at the stories of those who have actually been persecuted in this country by way of the DNC migrant crisis that wreaked havoc across this country and is still wreaking havoc across the country as we speak, to which Tom Homan and the gang are doing an excellent job trying to bring this madness to an end. But let's look at those who have been actually persecuted at the hands of those who crossed the border during Biden's migrant crisis.
So as many Democrat officials and those on the radical left demonize ICE, one mother learned the hard way the cost of open borders and soft on crime policies.
Yeah, that mother's daughter was allegedly killed by an illegal immigrant. And now, thanks to ICE, the family may finally get justice. Newsmax crime correspondent Jason Matera has this special report.
I think of the parents, the siblings, the loved ones of people who have been just brutally attacked. I don't know how you get past knowing that it didn't have to happen if that person hadn't been here illegally.
Just pause right there. How many times have you guys heard me say that? You have those on the left who say that it doesn't matter that illegal immigrants may kill somebody every now and then because U.S. citizens commit more crimes than illegal immigrants do. But the reality is, it matters because if that person wasn't here to begin with, her daughter would still be alive. That's why it matters. All right. So when you hear people saying, oh, illegal immigrants, they don't commit as many crimes as American citizens, that is one of the most disingenuous and heartless statements that you could make. This is why I don't ever want to hear anything about all this we are the world nonsense that Democrats like to push. They don't believe any of that because they will look into the face of this woman right here who lost her daughter at the hand of an illegal immigrant, and they will not bat an eye. They do not care. The hypocrisy of DNC lunatics is astonishing. It truly is. But let's get back into this news clip here. Let me wind it back just a little bit and we'll keep it rolling.
Been here illegally.
Across America, families are mourning loved ones, victims of murder, drunk driving, and fentanyl poisoning, all at the hands of people who never should have been here in the first place. Jennifer Boss knows that pain firsthand. For 51 agonizing days, her daughter Megan was missing, allegedly hidden by Luis Mendoza Gonzalez, an illegal alien now charged with concealing and abusing her body.
He placed her upside down in that garbage bin, drenched her with bleach, covered it up with a blanket or a carpet, and left her. I was furious. And I did everything I could to try to find a way to get him held.
Despite a decomposed corpse being found in his yard, an Illinois judge let Mendoza Gonzalez walk free until ICE stepped in to clean up the mess.
An Illinois judge, ladies and gentlemen. Are you surprised? Some of you aren't because I covered this story already before. But an Illinois judge, a radical judge, let this guy walk, okay? Until federal agents, ICE, stepped in. And I want to take a moment to pivot from this story for just a minute, but we're going to come back to it. I want to take a moment to discuss really why it's so important that this TPS status has expired. Because sticking to Chicago, Illinois, you've seen me do a handful of stories over the course of the last week or two, and I'll pull them up for you right now. How many of you remember me covering these stories here? Migrant arrested 8 times since 2024, stabbed man who refused to delete video, prosecutor stated. This was from a Venezuelan migrant. A Venezuelan migrant did this. And, when I make videos saying Chicago migrant does X, Y, and Z, a lot of people get upset because they say he's illegal. But the thing is that he's not, right? This guy right here, this animal, he's protected under TPS status. That's why he's not illegal. Now, whether or not he's going to fall underneath that category of those of the 260,000, right, that lost their TPS status, that I don't know. But this Venezuelan national, right, this Chicago migrant, these guys are the ones that are protected under that TPS status. You had this influx of demons like this coming into the country, terrorizing American citizens, and Democrats could care less. And you see in states like Illinois, this is why Operation Midway Blitz is so important, to be able to snatch guys like him up. Here goes another one that many people were like, hey, why are you calling him a migrant? Is it an illegal immigrant? Well, the TPA is a TPS baby. Okay. He's a TPS baby. You guys remember this story? Migrants stalked and gunned down teens in Canaryville. Prosecutors say 1 dead, 1 badly injured. You remember this guy right here? He was the one, the 19-year-old Venezuelan migrant, a Venezuelan national, who gunned down a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. But fortunately, the 12-year-old survived. But it wasn't just those two. It was a group of teens that were walking and he gunned them down. But unfortunately, these two got hit. The 15-year-old died and the 12-year-old lived. These are the people. Guys like him are the ones that are protected by TPS. That's why technically I couldn't call him an illegal immigrant. I had to say migrant, Chicago migrant. He's a Venezuelan national. These are the guys that are wreaking havoc across the country that must be removed. Now let's get back into the sad story that we were listening to earlier.
ICE was able to do what Lake County refused to do, keeping him behind bars.
Jennifer is now outraged that federal agents are being demonized simply for doing their job.
Secret police that are terrorizing our communities. ICE.
Joe Gamaldi with the Fraternal Order of Police says this anti-ICE rage is straight out of the same script used previously to smear cops nationwide.
Far-left politicians for the last decade who have trafficked in anti-police rhetoric because they realized there was money to be gained and influence to be garnered by basically treating the American police officer like crap. They're rolling out the exact same playbook against ICE officers.
And the thing is that, as he's saying, it's not even so much so that there's money to be gained, because there is money to be gained. But that's by default. This is really about a lot of votes to be gained. Votes by the children of illegal immigrants that become automatic citizens. I believe it is under the 14th Amendment, right? And the major benefit that comes from having illegal immigrants in your state is the boost that it gives you in population, since they are counted on the census. And when you count them on the census and you boost up your population, as we've discussed so many times over before, what does that do? We all know the answer to that question now. That's what determines how many more delegates that you get to represent you in the House of Representatives based on the population boost in your state. That is a form of cheating. You're manipulating your population count to get more representation in the House of Representatives. That's why this is so important for all of this to come to an end. It's not just about money, but it's also about votes. It's about power. And this is all happening at the expense of people like this mother here and so many others who have children that lost their lives at the hands of monsters like this, who should have never been here to begin with. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platform. And please do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegrams in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.